On the spot news media, we got the latest news. We don't care about the views, we just representing right. Put local news internationally every night. On the spot, wave that Jamaican flag from left to right. Let's get it right, y'all know the type. We ain't dealing with the hype. We make it take flight.
Yeah, man, my viewers and subscribers, what go on? A blessed and wonderful Friday morning to each and every person out there tuning into On The Spot News Media. Now, my peeps, you don't know how we do it over on this side each and every morning. We have to give thanks and praise to the Most High Creator for the preservation of life, because life is indeed the greatest. So in the morning, my peeps, I have a few stories to share with you, the regular members of Chan Public and also members of the diaspora. So please like the video, share the video, watch the entire vlog so you can get a full understanding and a better appreciation of everything we are going in Jamaica. So watch this now, my peeps, to the name Friday, the day when Mr. Michael smile upon some of the ones and ones them pocket. So whilst you're out there traversing these streets from Moran Point to Negril Point, safe travel, pan the gravel, and continuously look out on the corner yai Kaswa, the old dirty corner boy them always out there. Alerts, yeah man, me I tell you. So that the morning I'm a peeps over there in the troubled, crime-riddled, war-torn Kingston Western Police Division, a double knockings and clappings took place again during a grisly drive-by knockings and clappings that took the life of 2 and injuring several others, to include that of a little boy. Yeah man. But before we get into the main story, let's talk about the divide along party lines between lawmakers on the 50-year minimum sentencing guideline as it relates to capital murder. Now, people are wondering what's the difference between capital and non-capital knockings and clappings that has resulted in the loss of life of a person. Well, as it relates to capital knockings and clappings will take people's life, that is a type of murder that is punishable by life imprisonment or by death. Capital murder involves those type of knockings and clappings plus some type of aggravating circumstances, such as taking the life of a police officer or a firefighter, are those type of persons whilst on duty, or taking the life of a person whilst committing another felony like the hold on and take, abduction, or the loss of life of a child. And what is most fitting to what I just stated is the life that was lost in the Philip Paulwell saga. The life of these 2 precious human beings presently on your screen. Tashana Pattison and their 10-month-old daughter, who would have been 1 year old today, Soraya Paulwell. Yeah, man. Now tell me, Jamaica and Jamaicans far and wide, wouldn't Leoda Bradshaw be very much deserving of the minimum of 50 years for that wicked and brutal act that she herself planned and orchestrated and paid persons to carry out? She and her co-accused are so deserving of that minimum mandatory 50 years in prison. But let's hear from our lawmakers and hear what they had to say. So on Wednesday, a joint select committee reviewing the criminal amendments bill began wrapping up their deliberations on the proposed increased penalties. Now, despite weeks of submissions and discussions, government and opposition lawmakers still do not see eye to eye on the matter of the mandatory minimum sentence for capital murder. And I wonder why they can't see eye to eye. I know that the PNP is now the opposition doesn't mean that you have to oppose everything, because this makes absolute sense given the type of crime monster we are presently fighting in Jamaica. Now, the government Senator Kevin Gale told the committee why he supports the mandatory minimum sentence of 50 years. So we're going to hear from Kevin Gale right now. Listen.
This committee, in seeking to treat with the public sentiment, has to display what would be the creation of the highest level of a deterrent. And so we also want to be able to restore public confidence in the judiciary system. And so it is in my view that this is the one that ought not to exhibit any level of flexibility. And so I'm supportive of creating that the highest level of deterrent of the 50 years.
Now we're going to hear from opposition Senator Donna Scott Motley and Justice Minister Delroy Chuck. And tell me in the comment section if the opposition Senator Donna Motley Scott is presently living in Jamaica and seeing and hearing of the atrocities that has been taking place and being perpetrated amongst the regular members of Jan Public. Or is it that it would have to come knocking on her door, and not even necessarily her door, but somebody really close for them to open their eyes and see the realness of what is happening in Jamaica? What is happening in Jamaica right now needs a special set of laws to curb the crime monster that we're presently facing. When that is curbed or quelled to a more tolerable level, then we can always go back and amend the laws. But as for now, we need the strictest and most harsh penalties on these criminal elements out there, because just as how they are rigid and heartless against people, I don't see why we should treat them any less. But anyways, listen.
A 30-year-old person who is sentenced is an 80-year-old man. And the burdens on the state of taking care of the elderly population in prison is going to be devastating, because we're not equipped for it. Minister, there are so many people of that age who have every known physical condition to man. One has to take a holistic view of what one is trying to do. And whereas I know that the eye for an eye and the punitive aspect of it is compelling, I'm just saying that we should look at the consequences. I believe that the increase in these sentences are far too dramatic. I believe that the legislator has a role beyond responding to the public. I do believe that the legislator has a role in guiding public sentiment and explaining to the public what considerations are taken into account when they do this very important task. Indeed, I think the legislator and the public should also put themselves in the position of somebody about to be sentenced. That's the kind of balance that I think we need to have.
My view is that it should be high, and the reason why it should be high, this one in particular, because we're dealing with capital murder. We can do a little with non-capital murder, but for capital murder, I think it should be high, because the usual thing with capital murder is life imprisonment without parole. Why we should have that adjustment, that it could be a sentence with a number for parole, just in the event that a person pleads guilty, then the judge would be guided by what the minimum mandatory is in the legislation to reduce it. The judge might reduce it by 33% or 50% if the person pleads guilty, depending on the nature and gravity of the offense.
You know, my peeps, listening to the opposition senator, that's Donna Scott Motley, while she said that we should put ourselves in the shoes of the person who is about to be sentenced. It's really funny how she would say that. Now I'm speaking to you, Donna Scott Motley. Put yourself in the shoes of Philip Paulwell presently. How would you feel if you lost a child in such a wicked, brutal, and horrific manner. Put yourself in the shoe of the many family members out there mourning the loss of their family members, the children mourning the loss of their fathers, the mothers mourning the loss of their child, the parents mourning the loss of an infant. Put yourself in those persons' shoes. The persons laying on ice or in a box 6 feet under can't even put themselves in anybody's shoes because they were taken out of this life by these wicked and brutal and heartless criminals that you're asking us, the regular members of Jan Public, to have consideration for. Are you really sane, Senator? Boy, may I tell you, the thing rough, but anyways, make we continue. Now last night, may I tell you, say, showers upon showers, and it's not showers of blessing, but showers of bullets was pelted upon the community of Rema. Yeah, man. A section of Rema known as Buckers. 7 people end up get caught up and 2 end up lose them 3 pints. A little boy was also seriously conned up and injured, presently battling for life at the Kingston Public Hospital. Now tell me now, in these reoccurring circumstances where every single day people are dying left, right, and center, and your only concern is about the perpetrator of the crime, no concern whatsoever for the victims, especially our nation's most vulnerable, our children. Yesterday, I did one of the most heartfelt interviews. That little girl, Venice, did not deserve to go in such an untimely fashion. No sympathy, none whatsoever, for the perpetrators of these wicked and brutal acts. Now, 2 persons end up lose them 3 pints. This man presently on your screen, affectionately called Crouch, and this man known as Nico. Now Nico is a known Nakis and Clappis, old dirty kind of boy, we probably deserve every bullet we him get last night. Yeah, man. He was out on bail for knockings and clappings that he committed and took the life of another criminal element. So good riddance. Nico clap a chicken, and now chicken friend them retaliate and clap back Nico. Now the police them just need to find who clap with Nico and clap them way, and we just call that gravy. Yeah, man, fish tea. Now Crouch, on the other hand, we get to understand, say, it's just a casualty of war. Wrong place, wrong time. Working youth, we get to understand. Not really involved in the slackness we are going, but him just find himself on the wrong side of the fence last night and end up lose 3 pints. Now, how does his family members get past that? Hearing the utter rubbish coming out of the opposition senator's mouth. And I'm going to show you a picture of a little boy who is hanging on to their life right now. And I just want Jamaica to pause for a minute and just whisper a quick, quiet prayer for this child presently on your screen. To the family members of this little boy that was shot and injured last night, we definitely are praying for a speedy recovery of your child. Because no matter what the circumstances, even if this child is a child of a criminal element or of a crasmite, and I'm not saying that the parents are, so please nobody take off my head. The point that I'm trying to make is regardless of the circumstances, these children remain innocent at this tender age. Look at this little boy presently on your screen. You think his parents, his loved ones, his classmates, his teachers would really have sympathy on the person that shot him regardless of the circumstances of how it happened? We care zero. The perpetrators of these wicked and brutal acts must be punished and punished severely so. You're talking about to put ourselves in their shoes when they're being sentenced. Talk about putting yourself in the shoes of the many grieving families out there who have lost a loved one. Opposition Senator Donna Scott Motley, you're a mad woman if you even think or consider that Jamaicans would be sympathetic towards these criminal elements, because we're not, and we will never ever be sympathetic towards them. So please, ma'am, with all due respect to your office, On the Spot News Media, and the entire Jamaica, and the Jamaicans in the diaspora, ask you kindly to side and sign off that piece of legislation, to pass it into law, so that the minimum sentence for capital murder is 50 years. Argument done. Yeah, man. So anyway, my peeps, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to On The Spot News Media as I continue to bring you fresh news and updates in subsequent newscasts. On The Spot News Media. Yeah, man.